Currently we are working in our LinkedIn list class. This is after we made our ListNode class, and we have a couple of methods in it. We have a toString method and we have an add method. However, we are trying to make our LinkedIn class, or LinkedIn list class, have the same capabilities of an array int list. To do this, we need to add a lot more methods. With an array list, we have a method called get that returns a value at a given index. And we cannot do that with a linked list because it accesses each element or each index in sequential order. Since it accesses our indexes in sequential order, we cannot simply pick where we want to get our value. We have to make a method to do that for us. So we are going to make our method. It's going to be our get method, so it's going to get a desired index's value, and we're going to call it public int get int index. And the reason why it is an int is because it's going to return an int, and it's public so that when we have our normal code, when we're not working in our class, because a class it's hidden from the user, and in our normal code, this is where everything is written out, and it just calls the class. That's why it's public, so our normal code can see it. We're going to call it get, and it's going to take the parameter of type index. We need to make a for loop to iterate through our indexes until we find our desired value. And to do this first, we have to make a temporary list node, because this is where our linked list is going to be stored in. However, we don't want to touch that. So what we can do is make a temporary storage container of type ListNode. Current is equal to front. And the reason why the type needs to be ListNode is because we can't store things of different type. So it needs to be the same exact type. And its name is current, and it's going to equal front. So whatever linked list is in front, it's going to be stored in current. Now we can write our for loop and write it as for int some variable equal to 0 is less than the index that we're given, I++. So what this is saying is that we are given an index, and what's going to end up happening is we are going to go through our linked list until this index is hit. If we use this code right here, and we're passed in the value 3, that means we're going to have 0, 1, 2, 3. So our third index is going to be 4. So that means we need to stop at 4. So what's going to end up happening is it's going to iterate through our list, because I is equal to 0, so it's going to equal this, and then it's going to equal 2, 3, and then it's going to stop at 3. It's stopping at 3 because we're passed in the index 3. So that means I is going to go until it is 2. And our second index is 3. So to do this, we need to go through all of our nodes. And the way to do this is have current update itself every time it goes through the node. Or every time it goes through the loop. So the first time, current is just going to equal the first value. To get it to equal the next value, we're going to say current dot next. We're using these numbers to test our loop. We can delete it from up here. And with these numbers, we're going to pretend that our index, our parameter, is going to be 3. So that means what we're going to need to get is the value 4. That is the value that needs to be returned, and our index is 3. So if we look at our for loop, that means our I goes up to 2, because I has to be 1 less than our index. Right here, when we make ListNode current equal to front, that means current is equal to 1 automatically. And when we go into the loop, we're going to say 1 is now equal to the next value, and that's 2. So that's the 0th time it went through the loop. Now the first time it goes through the for loop, it's going to say 2 is now equal to 3. The second time it goes through the for loop, it's going to say 3 is now equal to 4. And that is our that's our third index. 4 is our third index. That's what we were looking for. And now that we have 4 stored in current, all we need to do is return current dot data. Because if we go back into our ListNode class, data stores the value of the node. That's why we have to have dot data.